New year. So many opportunities. And I'll tell you what, sometimes we put a lot of emphasis on new year, new me, new da 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 da. And that's great. And if you can roll with that, that's awesome. But you know what? Sometimes this is about, okay, so we're at day 6 of the new year. So, this is about the time where we start to realize that maybe it's going to take a little more work to make the change we wanted to make than we had originally thought. And maybe we've already danced with falling off the wagon. You know what? That's okay, because this is a weird reminder that you can just get back on. I was like, all right, I am going to meditate every day this year. And as I was falling asleep last night, I went, shoot. Because I had a habit, I had a schedule, it was really great. And then we got the dog, and I'm totally blaming the dog. Because it's totally changed our schedule, right? And so, you're still getting used to a new schedule. It's not really the dog's fault. It's just you're getting used to a new schedule. And taking care of the dog and feeding the dog and all of that is now in the time when I used to do that. And then by the time, anyway. So, new schedule, new year. But you know what? That's just because I forgot yesterday doesn't mean I'm going to be like, oh, well, never mind. No, I'm just get back on, right? Get back on. So, just that's how we make long-term change, right? So, some of you read my e-news. Those of you who didn't, here we go. Those of you who did, I'm sure this will be better than it was in the e-news. So, a new name. So it's so excellent that here as a spiritual community, we have tweaked our name from Unity of Anchorage to Unity Spiritual Center of Anchorage. Unity Spiritual Center. And that's why the name tag fairy was going around, because your new name tag has the new name. And she's, you can get them afterwards. There's more. So, and the signage, everything's changing, right? And so you're like, okay, well, it's just a name. What's in a name, right? But there's a lot in a name, right? Because it's what we call ourselves. It's our identity, right? Not just identity of us as a spiritual community, which is great. I think being a spiritual center is more exciting than being a church, but that's just me. And it's enough of you who said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, so we did it. But it's a lot more than, what is the name? Well, it's all those different identities. We may have an identity of being whatever our profession is, or an identity of being our familiar relationships, as in mother, sister. We have a lot of siblings here today because we had a lot of brothers with birthdays, so we must have a lot of siblings here today, right? Or tall person, short person, skinny person, fat person. We have all these things that we identify ourselves, right? It's a literal patchwork of things that we call ourselves, right? Or we identify as, or don't identify as, right? And so, I was talking with my coach, Gary Simmons, Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons, and we were talking about this whole name change thing, and he said, and I think this is a direct quote, but I was scribbling pretty fast. We assign ourselves a destiny when we attach it to the I am. And you have heard this before, right? The I am, because if you remember the burning bush, Moses said, who is it that's calling me? And God said, I am that I am, right? So we believe that what we put after I am is very powerful because we are calling that to be our truth. So so what Gary's saying is when we say that I am something, we're attaching a destiny to that. That's exciting and scary and all the stuff, right? Because it's very powerful. So when we say I am a sister, or I am a brother, right? That's saying something about who we are. We're saying, I am a fill in your profession. You're saying something about who you are. If you're saying, I am sick, you're saying something about who you are. Now, you may not be feeling well, and you could say, I don't feel well. That's not the same as saying, I am sick. It's semantics. It seems like it's semantics, but it's not, because there's a claim. I just say, at this moment, I don't feel well. It's saying, that's not the permanent truth of me. If I say, I am sick, then you're saying, you hear the difference? There's a difference, right? And so we can see it with those things like that, but what about the other things we're saying about ourselves and who we are? What we claim. So last week, and don't worry if you weren't here, I believe in your power to be able to figure out how to transcend not releasing. Because last week we had a releasing ceremony, we had a burning bowl. It was excellent, and we released the things that we did not want to claim as part of who we were in the new year. Now, if you didn't do it, or you decide you have something you need to release some more, go burn something, go write it in the snow, and then let the snow plow take it away. Whatever you want. There's lots of ways. Take a felt tip marker, write it on a piece of toilet paper. There's all sorts of ways to get rid of stuff. You use whatever ritual you need to release something. So, just because you weren't here last week, or if you decide you need to do it some more, there you go. But we get to rename ourselves. So the white stone ceremony is something that many unity churches do. And I was always like, what is that as a grown-up? Because I don't remember us doing it when I was a teenager or before when I grew up in a unity church. And they may have been doing it in grown-up church, but we weren't doing it in kid church. So, I don't know. So, which is kind of fun because I got to discover it as a grown-up. And so the white stone ceremony comes from this desire, because nature abhors a vacuum, right? So if we have a releasing ceremony, then we have to fill it with something. Because otherwise, we'll just put in the same thing that we just took out, right? That's how it works. Because if we didn't learn a new habit, we're just going to fall back in the old one. If we don't learn a new brain pattern, we're just going to fall back in the old one. If we don't learn to really notice when we say, I am whatever not so nice thing you're saying about yourself is, and notice it and fill it in with something else, you're just going to keep saying it. That's how it works, right? So the white stone ceremony comes from, loosely, comes from this idea that in the Jesus time frame, and the Jesus time in period in that part of the world, if you were in jail and then you were set free, you finished your sentence, you were given a white stone, and this said you're free now. And so we took, oh, that's nice. So we get the white stones and use that as reminding that we're free of whatever that prison was that we may have put ourselves in. And so I got stones. They're not quite white stones because my usual source didn't have them, and I decided that driving all over town wasn't not the right choice for me. And I knew that you all can use your power of imagination to use these light-colored stones to do the trick. You don't need it to be the right color on the outside, because you know that that's just silly. So we have a whole. We let whichever. So you're gonna come. We're gonna do a thing, and you're gonna come up and you pick your stone, and you got to grab a pencil, because trying to write on a rock with a ballpoint pen does not work very well. Pencils work much better. And if you decide you want to be really fancy, we do have, and you can use a pencil, but later we have those really cool acrylic pens, like acrylic paint pens in the back, and those might work. That's what we use on the Peace Rocks, so you can try that out. So the idea that we get to rename ourselves is very exciting. And we have lots of stories in the scriptures, not just the scriptures we use in the Christian tradition, but, Sarah did not start as Sarah. Abraham did not start as Abraham. Jacob became Israel. They get new names when they become called and they accept the call. You get a new name. And so, I'm not saying that you should decide, well, now I want to be called such and such. Now, if you do, that's okay. We'll, make you a new name tag. That's fine. But usually, in my experience, people choose to write something or call something, whatever calls to them, that's more of a quality of being. Like free, or joy, or exuberant, whatever. You pick whatever quality of being that you are called to be in this new, more like an intention than an actual, name that you might find in like you write on your birth certificate kind of thing. This is about intention, because then you get to make another one, and you get to make another one. So if you hear yourself saying whatever, I am, fill in the blank, not nice thing, you can say, wait, I am joy, or I am free, or I am love. That's a good one, love. So then the idea is you take your white stone or your off-white stone, because we're Alaskans and we do things differently. We're off-white stones. And you put it somewhere that'll remind you, Maybe you put it by I have several stones by my bedside table that have, when we go to the regional conference, every person who's there, every ministry that's in our region has a stone with the name of the ministry written on it. And then people take them home, and that's their prayer intention for the year. And so mine are sitting right there at my bedside, so when I see them in the morning and I see them at night, and it reminds me to keep them in my thoughts, right? So you might put it there. You might put it on your desk if you can see your desk. I wouldn't put it on my desk because I wouldn't see it. Sheila was noticing that today, that my desk is, we're going to blame it on the earthquake. So whatever is the right ritual for you to remember, because this is just a symbol to remember. I do not suggest you put it on your dashboard, because rocks on your dashboard, maybe not the best choice. But you could write it on a piece of paper and tape that to your, dash. That would be a better choice. I don't want to get in trouble for telling people to put rocks on. I see people put rocks on their steering wheel thing, and you're just great, projectile. So paper is a good choice for that. So that's all the stuff about names, and so I invite you to think about what destiny we're attaching to our I am. It's such a great word when he said that destiny, because it's so much more than just an idea, but we get to choose our destiny, right? So which direction do we want to take it? And that's what a name change is about, whether it's the name change of your spiritual center or the name change of what we're calling ourselves. It's good stuff. So we're going to get quiet. We're going to just meditate for a minute so we get back in that place, and then you can come up and pick a rock that says, "This, I'm yours." And grab a pencil, because like I said, pencils work good on rocks. All the other things, not so much. And then you can go, and we'll just have some quiet time for you to sit with your rock, sit in meditation, to consider what you might want to do it. And here's the other thing. Sometimes when we're doing this, you're like, I don't know. It's not coming to me. I'm not feeling, because you want to feel strong yes. Not just like, oh, maybe not. I mean, but what is really calling to you, right? What is calling to you, like, is written in the Hebrew scriptures that when they were called by God, they were called, right? Like that. Ooh. So if you don't have that yet, it's okay. It might be tomorrow, it might be next week. Just take your rock, carry it around in your pocket and see what it wants to be. It's just a symbol to remind you of who you're being called higher. So maybe Dorothy will turn on the meditation music. Disc 5. And so we'll just take a moment to recenter back in that really delicious meditation energy. And we'll just set aside any worries or concerns, any thoughts of who we're supposed to be or how we're supposed to show up. Set aside whatever we released last week, whatever we have released in the past, and just allowing the heart and mind to be open to who we could be and who we are. And in that openness, in that feeling of openness, of blank slateness, we come forward as guided to find the right rock. When you feel that openness, that readiness, just invite you to come forward as you like. Of openness, what am I called to be? What is my destiny? Let it settle into your being. This is your new name. And as you know, when we have a new name, or we call something different, or it takes time to get used to saying it, right? It takes time to get it right. And so if you forget, call yourself something less than who you really are, it's okay. You just jump back in and say, oh yeah, oh yeah. I may be feeling less than, but I am joy. I am love. I am wisdom. I am unlimited. I am all that is. Yeah. And so, remembering a new name is hardest at the beginning. But this is the important part. This is the time when we really get to make it true. So for the next couple weeks, you just get to be vigilant in your own mental processes and say, oh wait, that was not the thought that I want to say the truth. That's not the truth of me. Let's try again. And just redirect like you would a toddler or a 65-pound puppy that I have in my house. Just redirect, right? Redirect. So that's what we do. We just redirect. Patience, redirect. And so that's what we'll do, especially in the next couple of weeks, because this is when it's new, and then at some point it will just become our new habit, that this will be our name. This will be our truth of who we are and who we've come here to be. Isn't that exciting? Yes. Awesome. So, you might not have your name yet. That's cool. It may take some time. I know one of you is going to have a new name, which is Chili Champion. But that's sort of like a lower level name, and then we have, but it's just one more of those patchworks of things that we call ourselves, right? So we're going to move on to finish up service, but you can just keep that in your pocket if you're still working on it, and even if you're not, you just keep that in your pocket. All right.